Do you have trouble getting up after you've been seated? Are you looking to regain the strength so that you can stand up easily? Then check out this video because we can help. Hey there, Coach Tyler here with WeShape. And as you can see, I'm seated in a chair right now, and that's not typically where you would find it. You see, I've had to spend the last 8 weeks resting my legs more because I recently had a knee surgery and I'm still recovering. And we know there are plenty of people out there who have either never been able to fully recover from an injury or a surgery to a place where they can do all the things that they're used to doing. Even the simple things like getting up from a chair while you're sitting down. Also, we want to acknowledge that there are so many reasons why you might have trouble getting up from a seated position. So, regardless of why you might be having a hard time standing from a chair, what I'm about to show you will make a huge difference for you. So, how do you go from here to here to here? Well, it's like I always say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Come on, let's get going. Okay, right now I'm gonna show you 5 steps that you can practice to build the strength to stand up from a chair again. But before we get into each of these 5 exercises, I wanna make sure that you understand that you see, I've had to spend the last 8 weeks resting my legs more because I recently had a knee surgery and I'm still recovering things. It's going to be very unlikely that you get injured as you practice standing up and down from a chair. If you don't focus on them, then your chances of injuries are going to go up. So, to start with, I want to make sure that you focus on your foot. The first thing you need to think of when focusing on your foot is that you have these 3 points in contact with the ground, right below your pinky, right below your big toe, and your heel. When you stand up, I want you to try to keep 70% or more of the weight on your heels, not on the ball of your foot or your toes. That's gonna put a lot more pressure on your hamstrings and glutes, which are much stronger muscles than the muscles that surround your knee. Next, when you're looking down as you stand up, I wanna make sure that your knees don't knock in or go out too far. In fact, when you look down over your leg, it should look like this bone in your knee is going straight in line with your toes. So as you stand up, try to be mindful of your knees going the same direction as your toes. Now next, make sure to keep your chest up like this and don't round your back. And so what I don't mean is you can't stand up from this position. It's impossible to stand up from this position. Okay to hinge forward to the hips, but what I don't want is this. I don't want people rounding their backs to try and stand up like this and then extending their backs, because that's gonna cause some issues with your back. And the final thing is tall through the top of your head, okay? Stay tall through the top of your head, don't scrunch your neck forward and backward like this. So real quick, those 4 things are, keep your foot flat on the ground with 70% of the weight in your heels. Make sure your knee is going the same direction as your toes. Keep your back flat and your chest up as you hinge forward and stay tall through the top of your head. Okay, now that you know those things, let's focus on the 5 steps that you need to build the strength to stand up from a chair again. The first step you should take is learning how to safely get down into the chair. And so what this is gonna look like is this. Again, feet flat on the ground. You're going to hinge through your hips, bringing your back nice and flat. Put your hands on your knees, and I want you to take a little wider of a stance than you probably are normally used to. So I don't want your legs real narrow like this. I want them nice and wide like that. And as you come down, I want you to absorb the load through your arms, push your knees out, and bring your butt back as you slowly come into that seated position. Now, if you're here and you can't stand back up, that's totally fine. Going very slowly down and then using both arms on the chair or whatever you need to do to get to the start position again is totally fine. You can repeat that over and over again. The slower the better, especially in that bottom position. Now, once you feel like you're able to go all the way down, slow and controlled with arm support, then you can go on to the next step. The second step you need to take is making sure that you can safely stand up from the chair. Now, while using your hands on your knees is a good strategy, it often requires more flexibility than most people have. And so what's even easier is to use the chair for support. And it's even better if you have armrests to use on the side. So I'm gonna shoot this from a side angle here. Nice wide stance, just like you had when you were doing the slow way down. Instead of putting your hands on your knees though, I want you to put your hands either in the front of the chair between your legs, on the back of the chair, or the side of the chair right here. Okay, so whatever feels most comfortable to you. I'm gonna put my hands right here between my legs. What you're gonna do is hinge forward at the hips like you're bowing, right? Bow forward, again, tall to the top of the head, don't round your back. Push off the chair, drive into the heels, and start to extend your legs until you feel like you can move your hands up to your thighs, and then stand up from the chair that way. And then my way back down, just like we started with, hands on the legs, slowly back down. Rest for a second, reset, find your hands on the chair wherever you need to. Press in, bow forward, heels pressing into the ground. And then once you can move your hands to your legs, fully stand up like that. Okay, practice that movement, slow and controlled, using your hands on the chair for support on the way up, and then you can move on to the next step. Okay, now that you know how to go down using your knees for support, and then up using your chair for the support, what we're gonna do is only put our hands on our knees, so no more chair for support. So I'll start at the top position, nice wide stance, making sure those knees go the same direction as the toes. Keep the chest up and back flat, tall to the top of the head, right? And feet flat on the ground. So put the weight on the heels, put your hands on your knees, come down slow and controlled. And at the very bottom, what I want you to do is not relax on this one. And then press your hands back into your knees and stand nice and tall. Okay? Slow and controlled, come down. Try to just tap your butt to the chair and press your hands into your knees and stand all the way nice and tall. So again, slowly and with control, practice going all the way down and all the way up, this time only placing your hands on your knees for support. Okay, the next step, we're gonna take your hands off your knees as you go down and only use them on your knees as you stand up. So here's what that's gonna look like. Same start position, nice and tall. This time, instead of putting your hands on your knees, I want you to bring them out in front of your body. Try to use them for balance, okay? Same movement, push the butt back, hinge to the hips, weights on the heels, come down, and when you feel your butt tap the chair, move your hands to your knees, press into your knees and try to stand back up. Now, if that feels a little bit difficult for you on your way down, when you find that position that starts to feel really hard, that's when you can grab your knees and use them for support on the way up if you have to. Again, practice slow and controlled, making sure you have perfect form, and then you can go on to the very last step. Okay, this is the last step in the 5 exercises that you can use to learn how to stand up from a chair properly, and it's simply sitting down and standing up from a chair. So we've used your knees for support, we've used the chair for support, and now we're gonna use nothing for support. So same thing, nice wide stance, weight on the heels, push the butt back, tall to the top of the head, keep that chest up, come down with your arms forward, try to tap your butt to the chair, and then use your leg strength this time to reverse the motion and stand up nice and tall. Now, if the first time you try that, you're still not successful, only come about halfway down and stand up. So you can start by minimizing the range of motion and slowly each time you practice this, working up to getting a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper, and eventually being able to come all the way down into the chair and sit and relax, and then find your position again and stand up nice and tall. My big hope for you on this, now that you know these 5 steps, is that you never try to stand up from a chair herky-jerky like this ever again, okay? So before you stand up from a chair, the most important thing you can learn from this is to get your good position. Nice wide stance, hands on your knees out in front of you, whatever it is, hinge at the hips, drive through the feet, extend the hips with those strong glute muscles, not the muscles around your knees or your back, and that is how you're gonna learn how to stand up from a chair, pain-free, and build that strength again. That's really helpful for your daily life. Hey, really quick, if you're enjoying and finding this content useful, then I think you would love the membership program we have at WeShape, where it's less about how you look and more about how you feel. In fact, it's almost like turning your smartphone into your very own personal trainer, because we customize every single exercise in every one of your workouts to your individual capabilities. even if that means you can barely stand up from a chair. Just click the link below, take our new client survey, and you can try it for free for 14 days. All right, I'm so glad you spent the time to learn this series of steps to help regain your strength to stand up from a chair pain-free again. Let us know in the comments about the progress that you have made. And if you're feeling mobile enough again, maybe it's time to try a simple beginner workout. We have the perfect one for you to try out. Just click the link right here to check that out. I'll see you there.